2, 3, 4. Cheech and Manny Show. Cheech and Manny Show.
All right, and we are back. Get ready for another spooky episode, or spooky, or maybe frightening. I mean, because this guy is pretty sick
Yeah.
and this is part two of Ed Gein.
Yep.
We're gonna continue on where we left off. You can actually watch Ed Gein Part One right now. It is out. Please give that a watch. We explore the background, who the man was, a little bit of the documentary series. I'm joined by the People's Basis, my esteemed co-host Cheech, and he broke down Ed Gein's story, and we're gonna finish it off by his arrest. What? And we kind of talked about it already. And
Yeah.
what did they find in the house? And I will say, put your children away, kids. You are not allowed.
Yeah.
Just viewer discretion is advised.
This is creepy. Yeah, this gets, this gets creepy. This man was a creepy individual.
And this is Cheech and Manny, the true crime podcast.
Yes.
Strap in.
Here we go. So part two, Ed Gein. So the trial starts in 1957. Um, and he gets charged for first degree murder for the murder of Mary Hodgson, who was the tavern owner, who he shot in cold blood. Um, and he's found mentally incompetent and a unfit trial. So he was sent to a central hospital for the criminally insane. It's called the Dodge Correctional Institution. So he's there in 1957. He gets, the murder. He gets charged for murdering her, but his second charge won't come until 1968, where he killed Bernice Worden. This is interesting. He said he said he was buying a gun and it accidentally went off, and that's how she died. Okay, but what do you explain about her body being chopped up in 1,000 pieces? Like
Well,
that's
I
this
can
is where the guy was like so sick. You know what I mean?
I can hear him say that, and it's funny. I can
Yeah.
hear that in the Netflix show that I don't like that accent, but I mean I can hear it.
Well, I think they interviewed the actor, and I wish I knew his name, and he did that accent because Ed Gein would talk like that to sound like his mother. That was a theory. That was a theory. So he gets charged, for killing her because he did kill her because he hacked her up, but they did find, she was shot. So he's saying, he's saying he didn't shoot her. He didn't have a partner who shot her. You know what I mean? Like, so he shot her. So that's where it gets weird. But I'm sure he got charged. That's a part of killing somebody. And I'm trying to think. He was found guilty by reason of insanity again. He spent his life in a mental institution. And then the second, murder of this woman, he was not guilty. They changed it for reason of insanity, but he still, went to jail. I don't understand that. I don't understand what that means. Does that make any sense? That was like he wasn't charged, then they recharged him um for reason of insanity for not,
Yeah,
not guilty for the reason of insanity. So he
yeah. So
basically, what he was coming out saying, and this goes back to Deviant, the book. I'm going to keep bringing that up. He doesn't remember doing it. And now this is where the
well,
schizophrenia,
he claims that.
yeah, and this is where the schizophrenia theory comes in. Like, if he has schizophrenia, he might have had an episode and he doesn't remember killing her. But I'm going with the fact I don't think he had schizophrenia. I really, because we talked about it in the last episode, and you can go back to that. But I really feel was just crazy and sick, and he used that as an excuse.
Hmm.
You know, that's just my opinion. Um, so he spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital prison, and he was charged for two murders, and I guess they charged him for body snatching, which probably wasn't a big deal. If he just got caught for body snatching, and
Well,
then
actually, technically, that would be theft, right? I feel like, yeah, never mind.
yeah, but what he did with the bodies is a big deal. So, but he probably would have got out of jail maybe for doing that. If somebody took bodies and dug up a grave and made lamps out of them, you'd be in a mental hospital. But eventually, I don't. You probably would be released. He did die of cancer in 1984. And there's a couple of audio interviews with him that you can hear on YouTube, and it's
I will say,
interesting.
wait, did he sound like the Netflix series? What do you think? What's your
No, no, he sounded like
well,
a
that's why I'm saying, like, I understand why the actor did it, but I
yeah.
watching it, it's kind of funny. Like, it's not. I don't take it seriously.
I know.
Yeah, well, with the gun. Yeah, the gun went off.
Yeah.
Like
I
bad.
mean, he sounds like a regular guy, but the theory was that he did that to sound more like a woman, like his mother's voice. So who knows what's going on. Um.
Yeah, Cheech.
So
Yeah, Cheech. The gun went off. Like it's like a weird voice. Like
yeah.
he didn't like. Yeah, you're right. In the few interviews I've heard, the real Ed Gein, he didn't sound like. If anything, he also had remind me Minnesotan accent, or what was it?
Wisconsin. They have a very unique, accent. Um. So this is interesting. His farm and all his possessions in the movie. I mean, the series, they talk about it and they're like, they did an auction and they were going to auction off stuff. That's all BS. There was no auction. The only thing that was auctioned off was his car. Somebody sold it in auction. The house, after all this happened, mysteriously burned down.
Hmm.
Now, some people say Frank did it, the son, the cop, whose mother, you know, um, you know, the the hardware store owner. Why am I forgetting her name? Bernice Warden. That
Hmm.
she, he did it because he was mentally messed up after that. He probably burned it down, or the police did, and everything burnt in it. All the stuff, all the lamps and all that stuff. I think 80 or 90% of it burnt, but there are still Ed Gein's lamps and whatever you want to call it, artifacts around. They're either in a Wisconsin police station, or people have bought these things. People own them. I've seen pictures of it for real. I don't think it's AI. Some sick person has a lamp in their house made by Ed Gein. Uh, I think it was Rob Zombie. He bought the door from the Manson murders that said piggies on it for
Hmm.
like $500,000 or something like that. So whatever 10-15% of his relics that are out there, I'm sure the police sold it to the black market, and they're out there. They were gonna make it like a carnival show, but then they felt like this is wrong. You can't do that. So somebody burned the house down. You could go on YouTube and you can see people, ghost hunters and stuff, trying to uh summon him up and stuff. I heard a story that his grave, he's buried with his mother, his brother, and his father, is only 30 feet away from one of the women that he robbed her grave, and he took her skin. Isn't that insane? He's 30 feet away from one of the women that he grabbed. He grave robbed. You know. Then his headstone was stolen, and they didn't know where it was, and it wound up on tour with a punk rock band, and they would put it on their stage, and the police were wondering about it, and they tested it, and it was. I don't think it. They let them keep it, you know, and now you can't. If you go to visit Ed Gein, there's no grave marker. There's just an empty spot between his mother and his brother. Just a fun fact about him. Um, let's talk about the other missing people and go into the theory of the serial killer. Now, me and you have talked about it. Was he a potential serial killer? Is that possible?
Big yes.
You know, I think so because a lot of people went missing. Excuse me, and I'm gonna bring up the fact and fiction on these two guys, these poor men who passed away and got murdered, or we don't know. Victor Travis and Raymond Burgess. If you watch the show, there were two deer hunters. In the show, Gaines flips out on them and he uses a chainsaw on them and he messes them up, cuts their arms off and stuff. It's brutal. It's like the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's all fabricated, never happened.
I know that did not happen.
He probably owned the chainsaw because we talked about this in the last episode to cut bones. You know what I mean?
Jokingly, I don't think no serial killer has done that. Like get a chainsaw and because I know they probably do
actually, there is a real Texas chainsaw murderer. There was a guy who,
chainsaw. Like
yeah, I think that Geen is a big part of that, but I think there was a guy who killed people with chainsaws. That I got to research that. I think
I know they use saws to like Dahmer was big into that, but
yeah,
not like the Chainsaw Massacre where like you have somebody actually
no, but
going
I will
to the
I
tree.
will say the best scene in that movie, besides when Frank finds his mother, which is sad, is when what is his name? The guy who wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, I have his name. Where is this guy's name? Oh, Toby Hooper. That's the greatest scene in the movie where he's Christmas shopping and it's chainsaws are on special. And I don't know if this happened, in his mind, he just seen a guy pick up a chainsaw and start killing everybody. It's brutal, and then it leads to the movie. It just transitions. It's such a great scene. I remember that so much. I was like laughing. It's so disgusting. So Victor Travis and Raymond Burgess, they vanished. Nobody knows where they went. I mean, they were on Gaines's property. They did ask him if he's seen them. He killed them. You just don't vanish. He killed them. You bury the guy's farm was like, I don't know, 50 to 100 acres of land. Their bones are somewhere in that area on that farm. So I'm saying, you know, um, a lot of people are against that theory, but where did they go? Where did they vanish? You know what I mean? Like,
And historically, they vanish. We don't know what
yeah,
happened.
we don't know what happened to them. They disappeared.
It's
Uh,
pretty obvious.
yeah, I think
You
Harold
sure that Ed Gein did not use a chainsaw?
I don't think he did. I don't think he used a chainsaw. Maybe on the bones to cut.
Eh,
You know what? Could you Google that right now?
Yes.
Because I need to know. We need to make this clear. Because in the book Deviant, I didn't read that. You know, Harold Schechter. He didn't mention that.
No. The
Yeah,
idea became a misconception popularized by the horror film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah. So he must have cut up the
And you know what's
bodies.
funny? He killed both of his victims, shooting them with a .22 caliber rifle, and obviously the body snatching. But
Yeah,
as you mentioned earlier, he was the inspiration for one of the horror villains or monsters, Leatherface,
yeah, yeah. Definitely. You
and
know.
the family scene. I think I said this already. I know that movie's a classic, but I don't like it myself. Like
Which movie?
the Texas Chainsaw
Oh
Massacre
yeah.
is
It's
too weirdly I don't know how to
it's that 70s creepy exorcist
dude,
vibe. Like
it's not a happy movie. It's like
the
horrible.
way it's filmed, it has that like the way the Exorcist is filmed and the way Chainsaw Massacre is filmed. I had trouble with the Chainsaw Massacre for a long time. I couldn't.
No, I get it why it's a classic for sure. But I just like yeah, like you,
I I think I had emotional scars from that because my best friend Scott Harper from Seance, when we were best friends in fourth, fifth grade before the band, we'd have sleepovers and he'd sleep over like every weekend. And I remember the sleeping. I don't know if you slept in sleeping bags when you were a kid on the floor and stuff. So I'm crashed out on the floor. I'm out cold. We had just rented uh a bunch of movies from a place called Commander Video. One
Mhm.
of them was Chainsaw Massacre, and I said, I watched it. I said, I don't want to watch this one. Let's watch, The Terminator or whatever instead. We watched that. So I'm out cold. Scott thinks I'm sleeping. It's literally 3 o'clock in the morning. I start hearing a chainsaw.
Hmm.
Oh, it was Conan. We rented Conan too. I remember it was Conan and the Chainsaw Massacre. And Conan's creepy too. Conan gets with Celsa Doom. Conan's a creepy ass
Wait,
movie,
which
man.
one? Which ones?
Conan the Barbarian, the first one.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
This,
that's some creepy scenes in that.
oh yeah, when he's like standing there, and he turns into a snake. Like
It might be like an underrated uh yeah, maybe like horror film. I mean, there's some creepy stuff
I
in there.
think Conan. It's one of like I think it's the best warrior movie ever made. That and the
About the
Sword and the
and the
There's
sound.
another one. There's another one like Conan, the Sword and the Sorcerer, which is from my era. I don't know if you ever saw that. It's a sword with three blades. That's creepy too. Like there's some scary elements in these movies, especially James Earl Jones as Salsa Doom.
Oh yeah.
I was scared of that dude, and I love at the end how
It was that era of like scary stuff, even in like in the oddness
early
of places.
80s, late 70s, I remember being creeped out by Conan and I'm having trouble sleeping, and because the Celsa Doom, the guy just scared me. And James Earl Jones is a freaking genius. The fact he even did Conan. Here's I wonder why James Earl Jones, who was Darth Vader, you know, would
Mhm.
go and Conan is almost like a B movie when you think about it. There's no
Oh
real
yeah,
big
it's like
budget.
yeah. It's definitely a B style movie,
I
but
think it's the greatest warrior movie ever. I mean, for like that kind of warrior and Conan, one of my favorites. I know my brother-in-law Rob loves it, and it's coming from the comic books too. If you're a comic book freak, but James Earl Jones was like on the top of his craft and his game. Here comes Schwarzenegger's first movie. He's got this accent, not a great actor, but he's Conan. He's Conan, right? Why would James Earl Jones want to be this evil witch warlock serpent dude? You know what I mean? Like I can't figure that out. That'll always baffle me. They could have got anybody to do that. Actually, Walt Chamberlain was in Conan too, I think. Like 1, 2.
hello, all people. This is Cheech from the Cheech and Manny Show. Just want to tune in. Are you tired of all the podcasts out there? You probably want the greatest in true crime, music, history, philosophy. Cheech, am I forgetting anything?
Paranormal.
Paranormal. Like you want the best. You want to watch our show. We are the People's Podcast. And Cheech, why are we the People's Podcast?
We are the People's Podcast because I am the bass player from the People's Band, Potter's Field. And this makes us the Cheech and Manny Show, the People's Podcast, the best podcast out there on all the stuff Manny talked about. Check it out if you want to learn and just enjoy yourself with it.
Couldn't have said it better, my friend. Yes, so tune in to the Cheech and Manny Show. New episodes every week. The People's Podcast, probably the greatest podcast.
It is. And remember this, the Cheech and Manny Show. Like this is how bad it was getting. Uh, Walt Chamberlain was in Conan too. Like I don't recommend Conan too. It's kind of cheesy. But anyway, I'm way off thought now. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. But yeah. So these guys go missing, and no chainsaw. So that part, people in the Netflix series, is complete BS. A woman named Georgia Reckler, she disappeared. Nobody knows where she went. Obviously, he killed her. Now the babysitter, Evelyn Hartley. The babysitter in the movie, he's angry at her because she got polio and she was out for a while, so he becomes the new babysitter. And then she gets the job back because he does some twisted stuff. He shows the kids some crazy stuff, and the parents want to kill him. He's mad at her. He kills her in the movie. BS. He never killed her in the movie. In reality, we don't know. She went missing. You know what I mean? So again, your serial killer theory, Manny, makes sense. One other guy, nobody even talks about him, James Walsh. He was a neighbor. He went missing. So what do you think? Do you think Gein was a serial killer? And those people that were missing, he did
Oh yeah.
kill?
Oh yeah.
Never confessed to it because he probably.
And he only got tried for two, right? Like I think two, he definitely was.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I
that
think,
was.
I think so. I think, he definitely had the serial killer vibes. He is definitely responsible. Like some, it's you don't just it's too coincidental. You don't
Yeah.
disappear like that. And
And they got him on ballistics on
mm,
that, on the guns, you know? So,
he probably got more smart,
yeah.
a lot smarter. Um, yeah, he probably got a lot smarter in him trying to hide his crimes. Like if I had a
Yeah.
guess, because he went undetected.
Yeah. Well, he probably it was easy to kill people in Wisconsin in the 50s, believe me, and put them in your trunk and then living on a farm. I don't know. I'm just saying 50 acres and no one's around. Bury them. No one's gonna find them. They're buried. These people are, you know, skulls and bones. Who know? Well, who knows if they were a part of the furniture? I mean, they could test that with DNA, but not back then. They might have been a part of the furniture, you know. So that's the mystery of Gain. We'll never know. We'll never know all these things, and that's what I love about it. So fact versus fiction. And this is where me and my daughter disagree, and I love it because I'm glad she had some input on this episode. Did Ed Gein kill his brother, or did he die of a heart attack? Now, my boy Harold Schechner in the book Deviant says Ed Gein killed his brother because of head wounds on the back. We talked about this in the last episode. In the show, I think they show him kill him.
Mm.
But other Ed Gein people say he didn't kill his brother. But I don't know. I might go with Deviant. The book, Schechner studied this like Maury Terry studied The Son of Sam. He probably killed his brother, to get closer to his mother. How do you feel about that?
Implausible theory. I mean, it's one of those things we don't know, but
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious. I mean,
But
either
there's head wounds that the cops kind of blew off. If those head wounds weren't there, like you got hit in the head with a log, and Schechner brings that up a lot in the book.
Mm.
And I can't push enough. If you're an Ed Gein freak, read the book Deviant. It's a masterpiece. Um, okay. Uh, did Ed Gein dig up his mother? Um, he did not dig his mother up. She had cement over the coffin, and he couldn't break through it. Would he have dig up his mother? Yes, I think so. He would rob fresh middle-aged women, and that's who he dug up, and that's who he made the dead skin Slayer masks out of, and the lampshades, and the chairs. Did Ed Gein have a girlfriend? Edeline Watkins. Now, this is interesting. I believe he did have a girlfriend. A girlfriend. I
Hmm.
don't think it was sexual. I think she was a creeper, a freak. She liked pulp magazines. She maybe turned him on to some things with the macabre. But according to her, she said we had a 20-year relationship. And then after he's arrested and they find all the shit in his house, she goes, "We only dated for 7 months and we really didn't like each other." And
Hmm.
never heard of again. Never talked about, never an interview, you know. Did she know about the murders? In the movie, they made her. They made her accomplice almost like a Starkweather, like that kind of thing. But I don't think she knew. I think she would have went to the police if she knew. So the movie, fact versus fiction, she did not know. Any questions on that?
Well, pretty good.
Okay. And then again, bringing up, did she introduce him to Elise Koch, the crazy German woman who skinned those poor concentration camp prisoners?
Hmm.
Did she teach him about that, like in the movie where he had fantasies? They're in the pulp magazines. Again, we don't know. He never said where he got inspired to do that stuff. Okay. Now, um, okay, I'm trying to think. Did he wear a mask a skin mask and walk around wanting to be his mother? Yes, he did. Now, you're the psychologist here. We kind of touched on this in the last episode. Why?
Man, how much time we got?
Not a
So,
lot. Not a lot.
the simple answer is yes. He had, and I would say for our viewers out there, watch Psycho because I think Hitchcock got this right, the Freudian stuff right. If
Yeah.
you believe in the Freudian psychology, because again, without that, it is strange. What was he trying to do? Like, he was trying to be his mother. He was
Yeah.
trying to make a woman suit, right? Like to cop.
Yeah. He made a suit out of skin. He was a creative sicko genius where he could cut a body and make a skin suit, like a Halloween costume. He had the torso, he had the leggings, he had the
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah, so he definitely had an infatuation for his mother, I think, or something
Yeah.
strange. Where did that come from? It definitely stemmed from childhood. I know Freud talk about the Oedipus complex. I
Yeah.
mean, no offense. I mean, Ed Gein embodies that
He is, yeah.
because to the point where, again, I think he probably wanted to sleep with the mother. I think he had these sick. Who knows
And
what
and I
happened?
love what you said. The only thing that's left of Ed Gein is an id.
Yeah, because clearly his ego, and it's funny because his super ego, that moral center, was his mother.
Yeah.
The ego, right, was in a way himself, whatever remained, that childhood version of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, he's stunted. Like he's like a child, and maybe that's what Netflix was trying to go for.
That is a great point. Deviant brings that up. Like it's almost like his brain stopped growing. He had a childlike mentality. Like his brain stopped growing at 15. Like he
And
had like that like I don't is politically correct say the word, but you know what I mean? Like he was a little bit of that politically incorrect word that I want to say that I'm not going to say.
yeah, I literally
If you know what I mean.
cancel it. Yeah,
Yeah, you
um,
know what I mean?
but he definitely like if we believe Freud. And he definitely had a thing for his mother. It's pretty obvious. He
Oh
wants
yeah. Oh
to
yeah.
be her. He wants to be with her, one with her, and that. part of the id was operating on pure instinct, and that he decides to make a suit. And I think if he had the choice, he would dig his mother up, and like seen in Psycho, he definitely would have done
Oh
that.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I also think he wanted to feel what it's like to be his mother, because that comes up a lot in Deviant in the book.
and think about it. What do kids do usually? Put on costumes. I think he was very
Yeah,
and
I think he admitted that he did admit it. He wanted to feel
well,
like what
and I
it's
know
to be.
people criticize Freud, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, he did kind. I know it's weird to think about, but some people do develop this infatuation, maybe too close relationship with the mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Freud had the opposite with, and this is where it's interesting. I mean, to be quite honest, you females have not done this. So I think
No, well, no, there are some female serial killers.
no,
There's actually,
but
you
not
know,
but not with Ed Gein.
no, no way,
I'm not
no,
talking
no.
about no. And if anything, females like you, usually the serial killers, if there are any, they react because of passion. But that's a whole nother.
There's a couple wicked ones in England. There was a couple, a male and female, that were killing children. I forget their names. It was
Well,
a
women
woman.
killing children is common, as seen in Misery. That's actually common.
Yeah,
That's a rejection of like the motherhood and like taking
yeah,
instinct. But yeah, but if we believe in the Freudian, that's how we explain them. Now, take away the Freudian. Let's say we say Freud was wrong about this, and
yeah.
also that would suck because then that would remove um, Psycho, the movie, because it's Freud. Now,
Right.
how do you explain this then? Because then the only thing we can take it from a spiritual perspective, demonic. Like he essentially is a walking demon. um,
Oh, this guy is as demonic as it gets, even though he didn't, he's not the son of Sam, he's not Ramirez, the
and
demon,
I said this in the last episode. He like Dahmer was his student. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he knew of him, but
I think they all knew. I think there,
yeah,
and I'm gonna bring that up. There is a serial killer I'm gonna mention. I think a serial killer copycats other serial killers, just
yeah,
like
that's one
just
theory.
like a band wants to sound like Led
And,
Zeppelin.
and by the
You know?
way, it didn't help it that Ed Gein, and that's why one of the best scenes I saw. I didn't watch the whole Netflix series, but I did catch the Psycho and like Chainsaw Massacre movie transition time cut,
Right, right.
where those movies. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's good and bad. Good because yes, for the horror genre and what they were, excellent. Bad because they will inspire serial killers through that
Oh
movie.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why maybe if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, I think Ed Gein was a walking demon. I think, and it's odd because his mom was an overzealous Christian,
Yeah.
uh, but there had to been some sort of demonic intervention, and we don't. And again, so mysterious, we don't know. It's
Yeah.
a and also Cain and Abel story. Cain kills his brother.
Exactly. There's a lot of biblical things in there.
It's strange, yeah. And at the end, again, what Gein was trying to do was like a demon getting inside a fleshy suit. He was trying to do the same thing.
But then why would he kill, the tavern owner and the hardware store owner, because
Dude,
they look like his mother?
dude, it's a
Like
demonic activity.
that he would have want to embrace them and maybe hook up with them. Like in the movie he
No,
does, but
no, but if you're operating on demonic principles, you don't because your goal is to essentially like bring down humanity.
yeah.
And you kill. You have no like it's crazy because and again I would wonder like what would cause this because you would think he would be a Christian and those Christian impulses would guide him, but clearly
Yeah.
he didn't. And he fell under the influence Nazism we know is evil, right? So and what happened to the concentration camps is considered one of the worst evils
Oh,
ever.
all time. Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly this dude is walking embodiment of evil. Like there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Now, and then put psychology in, you can kind of get a good picture. There's demonic and like a twisting of maternal, perhaps some transgenderism in there, perhaps. And again, it's not a coincidence that it inspires Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
Put
Put the lotion in the basket.
lotion in the basket. Yeah, and it's crazy because and in that movie you're trying again, you ask why he killed those women. Again, it's similar how Satan, right? If you remember in the Passion of the Christ, is depicted as an ambiguous figure. We don't know
Yeah.
the woman. So
Oh,
this,
that's another creepy
yeah,
character.
well,
Oof.
this dude, right? Everything is distorted, and he's looking everything through a demonic lens.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and another similar, you remember Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. He
Oh, that's a great
kill
movie. Yeah.
anybody on a whim. It doesn't matter his psychology.
I wonder who he was based on with serial killer.
That would be a great. I want to read the Cormac. If there's a book that I want to read, is that Cormac McCarthy novel. Um, but yeah, so you have many dimensions with this, and then obviously from an FBI perspective, you have the serial killer. He is one of the, obviously you got Jack the Ripper and maybe
Yeah.
more. You
Yeah.
could argue that the emperors of Rome were serial killers, right? But uh,
Right.
Ed Gein was one of the ones that as we know it, goes in that category. Um,
Yeah.
and had he
Well,
been
he's unique. He's so out of all. I mean, he's not considered a serial killer, but I'm gonna put him in there because of the missing people. I mean, that lived in the same town. Um, he's just unique because most serial killers, like Ed Kemper, Ramirez, they did butcher. Butchering that's common practice. Dahmer, but Dahmer did like the opposite. He ate the bodies. Geen put the bodies over his
right.
body, his own body.
Right.
So he makes like Dahmer and Geen are almost similar and almost like a little extra special than these other whack jobs.
Oh, and what they're doing, they're not even killing because, like, let's say in a bar fight or
Yeah,
because this person did this to you. Um, it's definitely something strange there, especially with all the serial killers. But Ed Gein started that, so
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not surprised that he was influential in the cinema world, where his influence then reaches like And again, I think Hitchcock worried about this, but it kind of reached levels that perhaps maybe not good.
It probably created Ed Kemper, it created, who knows if Starkweather heard of him, because Starkweather's right at literally the next year, 57, 58. Starkweather starts going on a spree murder. I'm sure he heard of him, might have been inspired by him to kill people, But Starkweather was just angry and hated the world. Geen didn't. He didn't have a hatred towards a lot of people. He was a nice guy. He was actually nice. But why would he kill these people? Like, that's the psychology that I don't think anyone's going to figure it out. The Schechner came close, and I think
Mm.
the only theory he came up with, he wanted to get in his mother's skin, but I don't think he really scratch the surface, but with why he did it, it's that big question mark.
One interesting idea from Psycho is, and again, Psycho, very smart film, is that our main character, being having an infantile mind, would lust after beautiful women, and
Yeah,
then the mother would murder these women to stop the lust. So it's
right.
all a distortion, dude. It's like this dude is sick in the mind. Is it schizophrenia? I'm not
Is
sure.
that cognitive distortion, or am I way off on that?
The cognitive distortions, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
What's coming in is not. It's
yeah,
getting processed so distorted.
yeah,
But yeah, it's fascinating. But those are my explanations. These many.
yeah. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we answered that. Did Ed Gein have an affair with Bernice Warden, the hardware store owner? No. The movie makes him have this relationship for 1 or 2 nights. They go out on dates and then they hook up, and it's this kind of dirty scene. And the next day, she's in love with him, and and he just goes off on her, and and tells her all this stuff, and then finally just shoots her. So the bottom line is that's all BS in the movie. Fact versus fiction. Did not hook up with her. Um, he shot her in the store because she looked like his mother. And of course, he said the gun went off by mistake, but he accidentally, chopped her body up into a million pieces and cut her like a deer and hung her up. That. Yeah. So I was like, that's just so funny to me. Like, it's so sick. Like, oh, I didn't shoot her, but I dragged her dead body out of. I shot her by mistake. The gun went off and killed her, but I dragged her body out of the hardware store, took her to my farm, gutted her, hung her up on the wall like a trophy. Where is this guy's mind? Like, this is insane. So that's all fiction, that whole scene. So people don't believe the romantic dating scene, and she was a little wacky too. The one you got to feel sorry for is her son Frank, the cop, who did see all this stuff. Okay, why did Ed love his sick mother so much? And I wrote this myself, and you tell me what you think about this, with some influence from Deviant, the book.
Hmm.
It was a deeply disturbed, unhealthy, unhealthy, codependent, rooted in extreme psychological manipulation and isolation. His obsessive devotion was a product of her controlling and abrasive religion world view that she imposed on him. Now that's stolen a little bit, but put into my own words. How do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, I can see that.
1, 2, 3,
Hey,
4.
Cheech, you hear me out there, man?
I hear you, Manny. What's
I have,
up?
I have a question for you. Who
Sure.
know that Rush is the greatest band in the galaxy? Am I going crazy?
Oh, we know Rush is the greatest band in the galaxy. Definitely.
Well, tell me, who rivals them, though?
One band, Pottersfield BX. And that's because you got Robbie on the drums, Vincenzo on guitar, Bobby singing, guy named Cheech on bass, and you can find them on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and you could see on YouTube some of the famous fan-pleasing songs like Rock and Roll Dinosaur and I Axed My Baby for Halloween, Crank That Up. And of course, the legendary Fat Chicks by Pottersfield BX. So check out Pottersfield BX, one of the best bands in the galaxy.
Cheech, my mind is blown. Now I'm gonna go out and listen to them. You should too.
Now back to our show.
The imposition of the religion.
Yep, the abrasiveness of her.
No, and again,
Yeah.
and from a Freudian perspective, that would make sense. And Psycho probably nailed it. That's true because,
Yeah.
if let's say Ed Gein felt lust for women from an infantile perspective because his brain got stunted, and
Well,
that mother,
that's a good point. Like she definitely, like we talked about, like she stunted his brain at a young age with the religion shit and like girls are evil, the world is evil. Like, so you're making a man who's 18 brain like a 10-year-old I don't even think his brain went past 12, to be honest.
Hmm.
And it's possible, right, to do that to somebody to like make their
Oh
brain.
yeah, you can stunt. Yeah, you can, and she used religion in the wrong way possible because then any healthy, like let's say like feelings towards women, it's distorted, and if anything, he probably heard that voice, and
Yeah,
so he is gonna kill these women so he doesn't go to hell. I mean, that could be a thing,
yeah. And I definitely think there's some stunted brains at the temple.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Gotta put a temple reference in
We
there,
got potential serial killers in there. I
Oh
think
God.
some nearby. We got people with stunted brains.
We got psychopaths about to explode, like
Psychos, we got sociopaths, we
oh
got
my God.
we have cult leaders. I mean, we write the episodes under their noses, but
Oh, I know. And
it's
then we have codename Frenchie, who Frenchie, um,
oh,
you know, what I'm talking
yeah,
about. We won't
yeah,
say his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
I think I was with him the other day as in the
Dude,
locker
dude,
room.
he's like an Ed Gein. He kind of,
Um, I was doing research on my phone and he's next to me and he's talking to himself. So I wonder if there's a little bit of schizophrenia in him because he does talk to himself, or is he thinking out loud? I don't know.
Well,
He'll,
if it's depending on his condition, I don't want to say out loud, but it's talking like it's that socializing, like he can't have those inner thoughts like normal people do. So you're
so
seeing,
he has to say them, and it'll
yeah, you're seeing him
it'll
live.
talk about past coworkers who he hates that are on his left leg. You wind up on Frenchie's left leg. Not a
You're,
good thing. Not a
you're
good
gonna,
thing.
you're gonna end up being a trophy in his farmhouse or something.
Yeah. All right. So we went over some of these things already. This was like my add to this. The movie Psycho, which is a great book. I think people should read the book then watch the movie. Was based a lot on Ed Gein's influence. And it influenced Hitchcock. And the book is written by Robert Bloch, 1959, I believe. Anything on Psycho you want to add? So our viewers should watch that, in
Oh,
comparison to Gein's.
oh, I will say like it's crazy because Psycho is one of the greatest movies. It honestly, hot take, it's probably one of the best horror movies. Nothing compares to it today, in my opinion. I know it's
Oh,
controversial. And only certain movies came close. Another hot take is, I don't know if you would agree with this, but now I will say, disclaimer, I'm not a horror movie fanatic. I know some people are
yeah.
obsessed with it. I'm not obsessed with horror. I think there's a limit too of how much I can stomach.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, because in my opinion,
Oh,
I was obsessed with horror as a teenager. There hasn't been enough good movies out there to make me real interested in it as an adult.
yeah, I agree with you. And then the movies are they're more entertainment. But the reason why I say the Psycho is one of the greatest because so many elements in that movie are, dude, for the time, the history behind it, the acting, the filming. And don't tell me because it's black and white that you think it's like you're not gonna watch it. That's a mistake. Like
That makes it even better, I
that
think.
makes it even better. The music, the themes. Hitchcock essentially created Freud's film because what he did was you saw firsthand the Freudian effect and the Freudian theory like fully in your face. And it's so deep because it does offer an explanation for the Ed Gein story. Why did he do this? Right?
Yeah,
And we have a man who, a sense, was infantile, haunted by the mother. The mother, he sort of had a dual identity. So if
yeah,
anything, if he did, maybe Ed Gein had a schizoid personality where he had these two identities. And
right.
what he did was in his brain rationalize the murders by saying, mother, I'm trying to be a good boy, trying to go to heaven, and this is, how I'm gonna do it. And anyone in my way, I'm justifying the murders of these people.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we have so much iconic scenes. The shower scene is
Oh God, yeah. I
so
mean,
iconic.
simple things,
We can tongue G.
simple things that make a horror movie. A shower, when a shower makes you scared.
Dude, I know. And it's crazy because and if you watch the scene, it's pretty frightening. And those violins, like it's unnerving. No, and you see the shadow of the mother, dude.
Brutal,
It's
you know?
brutal and her murder and so everything about that film it offers a great like Freudian psychological explanation analysis of people like Ed Gein. In this case, we have the famous Norman Bates, who like
Yeah,
represents all of this. Now, obviously, it's not close to the real story. And matter of fact, like I know in the film, spoiler alert, don't watch this part if you haven't seen the film and skip ahead. So you've been warned. But it turns out that he was having his mother, he dug up her corpse and then he that corpse has been living at the house. And actually our main character's sister discovers it. And
yeah,
then you see um Norman Bates in this, scary like woman suit,
yeah. It's
acting as a
classic,
father. And
classic.
he's living in this weird dual reality. And at the end, he's still, that mother's voice has finally taken over.
Yeah.
His iconic line, they're not gonna suspect me because she wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, so delusional out there,
Yeah.
and it's perfect, and also great to understand Freudian psychology. So you
Yeah.
can see stuff like the id, superego, ego, and
That's a great point because the id, the ego, and the superego are so important in
oh,
serial killers.
and think about it. If from a Freudian perspective, if you don't reconcile, and again, Freud was strange. I'm not gonna lie, and it's kind
Yeah.
of I do like his thinking though because there is some truth in it.
Oh
And
yeah, I believe in the id, ego, and superego. Like when I studied Freud, that's what I remember the most because that's what saves you as a human being. You know, if one of those things is fucked up in your mind, you're gonna have problems.
well, that's what Freud argued because, and again, it's really, I mean, maybe we can do an episode on Freudian psychology in the future, but the super ego and ego is these words translated from German. And essentially, the super ego, what he was trying to argue is that inside the mind, if there are certain moments in your childhood that are critical. So
Yeah.
he kind of made us go back to that. And one of the things is your relationship with your mom and dad. And then the reason why I mentioned is because Psycho shows you what happens when that relationship does not develop normally.
Right.
Freud says there are psychosexual stages of development, and he thought that sex was the primary motivating factor. I don't know. What do you think about that? It kind of would make sense for psychos for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ed Gein, what do you think?
I don't think Ed Gein. I mean, now thinking about Psycho, it's it's so much like Ed Gein's story now, digging
Yeah.
up the mother's grave. Hitchcock
Got it
totally.
better than the Netflix special.
Yeah, he did a great job without really giving away, the Ed Gein story. But um, I don't think Ed Gein hit that sex puberty in his brain. I think he was underdeveloped.
I do wonder, yeah, because it seems like he wasn't sexually motivated. For
In
me.
the
Now, by the way, I could be wrong. Now, in Psycho, um, the infantile Norman Bates, who essentially is acting like it's kind of creepy, but like a kid. So, and
Yeah,
he's excited when he sees a girl, obviously being a guy, and she's
yeah,
beautiful. But then his mother is probably in his head saying, what's the matter with you, boy? Like,
yeah, yeah,
how dare you just ignore your mother for her? Like,
yeah,
that voice keeps haunting her, and he's like, "You're right, mother." And so as soon as he has these, you know, feelings towards her, that's when he murders the woman, and he kind of builds this weird world and personality to justify the murders.
yeah, yeah.
But that being said, yeah, but the Ed Gein is interesting because I don't think it's kind of a little bit different. Um, I just think he's a sicko. He's definitely a psycho. I just know he's actually he's probably more of a psycho than
And
than
Norman Bates.
um, he's definitely the true psycho, horrific human monster.
Yeah,
Um, I like to think there's something demonic along the way. It's the only way
yeah,
you can explain this because otherwise you like Springsteen said, like, and that's why in Nebraska the song is so famous where the spree killer Charles Starkweather that he's on court and someone's asking him, either the lawyers, the judges, or the judge. I think it's the judge. Why did you do this? And he's like, I guess there's just a meanness in this world. I mean, that's so stark. It's sad.
yeah,
Dang,
yeah.
there are psychos out there like Ed.
Well, well, comparing Starkweather to Gaines is like almost like apples and oranges in a way because Starkweather, he was a nihilist. He hated the world. He wanted to kill everybody that got in his way that pissed him off or just kill. Well, Gein wasn't like that.
But let's say we remove all the motivating factors and we don't know. I mean, that's the world that we're living. He's just murdering and
Yeah.
going one step further, grave robbing, and then that obsession with death. Usually, when
Yeah.
there's an obsession with death, there's something demonic going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. But then you can view it from a Freudian perspective and definitely psychological. This dude was not right.
No.
And then would inspire Tom later on,
Yeah.
who himself had twisted,
Oh
obviously
yeah.
unreconciled relationship with his parents.
Oh, crazy. What else?
Psycho, go watch it. It's amazing.
Oh, it's the best, one of the best Halloween time. It's a
Oh,
drama. You're not gonna get the Wolfman and Dracula, but you're gonna get some really scary jump scares and some really scary things going on. Um.
but Cheech,
So,
what's your take on Psycho?
oh, I love it. Like I said, I think that was one of the earlier movies I seen as a kid, and I didn't want to take a shower. I think the shower scene is just one of the scariest scenes ever,
What
ever.
about the opening credits song?
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long
Ready?
time. Oh, when it starts off,
Ready?
the
Dun, dun, dun,
oh yeah.
like,
It's
dude,
it's just so 60s,
dude,
like the
dude,
early
it's
60s.
scary. Like, I'll be honest, Alfred Hitchcock is one of like the best
It's
for.
it's it's Hitchcock. When I hear that opening scene, I see Hitchcock,
Oh,
in my
and
face.
what
Like
about the house?
that house on the hill, like
Oh,
that. It's
scary.
genius.
Imagine you were like that was your neighbor. Like, dude, what the hell's
I
going on?
know. And now I think I have to bring up um Anthony Perkins on this because now we okay. So Anthony Perkins is that my next I have this is my added on stuff. So I'm gonna bring this up now.
Cheech, we all go a little mad sometimes.
Shining. Love it.
No, no,
Here.
no, Psycho.
Oh,
Remember when he's
thinking,
talking to the
think,
girl? He's like,
yeah.
because the girl, he goes like, when they're having a sit down, he's like, she just goes a little mad sometimes, and like we all go a little mad sometimes.
His
And by
eyes.
the way, I feel like a little theory being at the temple probably makes you a psycho.
Yeah. Oh, please. We all go a little mad sometimes. Ain't it's an understatement to tell. I think Anthony Perkins did such a great role
Oh, dude.
because this is my theory.
And by the way, bring the Freudian psychology stuff that Hitchcock took advantage of.
Well, Hitchcock took advantage of Anthony Perkins, and they do a great job in this in the series, fighting his own demons with homosexuality in 1960 or 1959. That was like a no-no back then.
It
That
would
was
have been
something.
a career ender. Like it would have ended his career.
Yeah. So the fact that Hitchcock knew this, and you go back to the id ego and superego, he manipulated this poor guy, just like Shelley Duvall
Oh
was kind
yeah,
of
with Shelley Duvall
abused.
and Kubrick. Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
looking
very
back,
similar.
very similar. Like Kubrick
No.
definitely took advantage of her.
Yeah, Hitchcock took advantage of Perkins because he knew he was fighting, and then they get into real details about him going to see a therapist, trying to not be what he is. I don't want to get into it, and then but the guy was what he was, and at the time it was shameful, because people didn't accept it. It's wrong. It's wrong to
So
not accept that, but they did back then.
yeah, and we talked about this like one of our off the air calls, but that I did not know that,
Yeah.
and based on his acting, dude, when you see him act in the movie, it's
Oh
like
my God.
that stuff comes out. Like,
It's like his frustration about what he's going through,
yeah,
and he can't be what he really wants to be in the world. He's taking it out on these people.
yeah,
That's method acting at its finest, right
yeah.
there. And Hitchcock being the genius, I don't know how Hitchcock knew that Perkins was homosexual. Maybe he
I
told
didn't
him,
know that.
but somehow the movie that could be false. Maybe Hitchcock didn't know, but Hitchcock maybe knew. You know what I mean? Like there had to be something. Maybe Hitchcock saw him with another guy and seen him the way he touched another guy, or maybe caught him in the act. Hitchcock definitely knew. And
Mhm.
even if Hitchcock didn't know, Perkins was fighting it. He was fighting those demons, and and that added to that great performance. That's a fact. That's a fact. I think. And going back to Freud, id ego and superego and that kind of thing, and being it's sad that he had to be ashamed of what he was back then. It's very sad because there's nothing wrong with that at all. And thank God the world's open to that now. But it was really shameful in 1960 as an actor in Hollywood to come out and say, I'm gay. His career would have been over. So I think he's fighting that frustration. You agree with me on that, you think?
Yeah, well, yes, and I saw in another video. I'm not sure if Hitchcock knew. I wouldn't be surprised, but actually,
In
Anthony.
the in the movie, in the series, they make him know. But I think he did because I think Hitchcock pushed the hell out of him.
Well, but also Perkins channeled all that into the performance,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
he became one with Norman Bates.
It
So you
did.
had all those frustrations, like if anything, Perkins could have been a serial killer in another world because he channeled all that.
That's the greatest method acting of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I
So,
mean?
which is crazy, but yeah, yeah, it's great stuff, man.
Yeah. So, what else did I have? Toby Hooper used Ed Gaines as the inspiration for Leatherface. No chainsaws, just the actual face. Um, Thomas Harris, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon were all inspired by Ed Gein. Um, Now it's Silence of the Lambs. We want to talk about that. Like, or I know you're a huge fan of that. Like, you want to give some insight on how that's
Yeah,
inspired.
that is interesting, and I haven't read the books, which I heard they're interesting, but the movie itself, dude, is Ed Gein, but to the 10th degree because
Yeah,
a lot, and I think the Netflix special was arguing with Ed Gein, like there was some sort of transgenderism going on in there.
yeah,
So Silence of the Lambs fulfills that. You have
yeah,
every facet of Ed Gein in a way, but the obsession with death, skinning, murders, cannibalism as
yeah,
well. Got Dahmer thrown in there as well.
yeah, yeah.
The intelligence factor of a lot of these serial killers.
Oh, I forgot to add this. I read this in the book Deviant today. Ed Gein did in the in the series. He brings a chunk of meat over to a neighbor, and he's like, I think we talked about. Did we talk about this in the last episode? Maybe we did. And the chunk of meat was supposed to be deer meat, but it might have been human meat.
You were
So
saying,
there's a touch of cannibalism in the movie, but in Deviant, they did bring that is brought up for like a split second. So just throw that in there.
yeah. But in Silence of the Lambs, it's like you have these encounters. So Agent Clarice Sterling, who's like a young female, and actually talk about a girl, right? Which is
Yeah,
interesting. She encounters these monsters. Like you have Dr. Hannibal Lecter, who's a psychiatrist, but a cannibal and super intelligent, manipulative,
yeah,
gets on to help FBI agent Clarice track down Buffalo Bill, who is killing young girls on the heavy side, skinning them and making essentially a suit, and he's going through a transgenderism, which
yeah,
famous scene. Um, but again, you have this instance where Hannibal Lecter, Dr. Hannibal Lecter tries to teach Clarice what's the mind of this person.
yeah,
There, and I know those are the fascinating parts where he's talking to this, psychopathic cannibal and trying to track down Buffalo Bill, and you get to go inside his mind, which
yeah.
the movie is stark, twisted. It is one of the best horror movies. It's
It is.
um
There's that scene where she's in the dark and he's right behind her.
oh
Oh, oh,
gosh,
oh my
yeah,
God. So Geen is all over that movie, just
all
like Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, not so much, just the dead skin mask. But yeah, that was a great breakdown of Silence of the Lambs. I love that. Um, and then what do I have left? We talked about the mother, and the schizophrenia thing. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% behind that. I don't think he had schizophrenia. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't believe that. I think you agree with me on that.
It's too hard to tell. I mean, at this point, it doesn't look like, in my opinion, maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah. Um.
And you know what's fascinating? Before I forget, with the Silence of the Lambs, want to know what your take is on this? In the movie, Lecter reveals that Buffalo Bill um, is not a genuine transsexual because he was a psychiatrist, right? So he's gonna like analyzing this,
Yeah.
but that he himself mistakenly believes that he is. Now, is that the case for Gain? I'm not sure. Um, but he was rejected from gender reassignment clinics due to psychological instability. So let's say if Ed Gein did want to become a transgender or transsexual, like maybe in that time, if it did exist, he probably would have gotten rejected because maybe there
Yeah.
was some psychological instability.
Well, it did exist, and it's interesting that you brought that up because in the movie, two other false facts. There was the first transsexual woman named Christine Jorgensen, and she had a sex change, and she was like an actress or a showgirl. In the movie, he communicates with her.
Hmm.
He never communicated with her. Did he know about her? Probably because she was famous, you
Mhm.
know. So that's a lie. And then in the movie, he communicates with the German Nazi lady, I, Iris Koch, and that's a lie too. And once again, she ends up in prison and she ends up hanging herself, and of course that becomes a whole. Practically, the scene is like a porno movie in that scene with the prison guard, but she ends up hanging herself. But it's fascinating that this woman, Christina Jorgensen, is brought up in the movie. She might have been an influence on him, but was he? He didn't really want. He didn't want to be a woman. He wanted. He did, but he wanted to be his mother. That's the
Hmm.
key. He didn't want to be.
So isn't that interesting? Like that's why like that's Silence of the Lambs takes a very interesting idea approach to that.
They're close. They're really close to the story. If you think about it, like I never knew Silence of the Lamb was about Ed Gein. I never even thought about that.
I honestly didn't know, and I started putting two and two together. I was like, wait a minute, it's crazy. This is the Ed
Yeah.
Gein story, but from different perspectives.
Yeah, and it really is. Psychos from one perspective with the mother, and then Ed Gein with Buffalo Bill, you know, him getting rejected because he, is crazy. He
I
can't.
remember, actually, I remember he's like, "Yo, I love me." Yeah,
I,
like that creepy, dude. That voice is so disturbing, dude.
that guy's such a great actor.
No, what a
He's really
horrific,
good. He's
horrific monster.
Oh my God. Um, then this is interesting. Then the Mindhunter people, the real Mindhunters, interviewed a guy named Jerry Brudos. Um, and they were asking him about Bundy. Okay, and he was giving them information about Ted Bundy in the 70s. And they asked him why did he kill? And he said because of Ed Gein. So a
Oh,
serial killer. I don't really know much about Jerry Brudos, but he was interviewed about Ted Bundy, and that's real. But he did bring up Gein as an influence, and the FBI never interviewed Gein about Ted Bundy. In the movie, they did. That's all BS. He had nothing to do with that. He wouldn't have been able. He wouldn't have been capable to talk about another serial killer because I don't think his brain was there. His brain was at a 12-year-old. I really think Ed Gein stopped. His brain stopped growing.
brain. Yeah, yeah.
So but that's all I got. Any questions on all this stuff?
That's pretty good, man.
I think Netflix is a great series. I recommend it, but the facts are, as Harold Schechter said, 90% wrong. And he's the expert on Ed Gein. And even when I watched it after doing my research, I was like, this is all wrong. I'm glad I did my research first, or I'd be really confused. Everything is wrong about the series. But I recommend watching it. It's a good, it's a great series. It's a great show. The acting is amazing. Everybody's amazing in it. A lot of emotion. Uh, he's really twisted, Gein, the way he acts. I love the way he acts. Whether Gein acted like that or not, the guy is a great, and he's English. He's an English guy. You would never know when you see him speak. I've seen a bunch of reels with him, but yeah. So I think we wrapped it up. Ed Gein, please, like, subscribe, and post what your feelings are. Did you like the Netflix show? Do you think that it's real, and all the stuff we're saying is maybe fake? I don't know. You know what I mean? Just post how you feel. I think it's more facts that I'm giving, and the show is more fiction. And read the book Deviant, because that really is going to give you way more information than I gave you. It's going to break down his mind a little bit more, but everything I'm saying is pretty much coming from facts about Ed Gein. So, uh, and then a year later is Starkweather. It's just so funny how we did the '50s killers. We got to do some '60s serial killers next, because we did the '70s. We did Son of
Manson.
Sam, Ramirez.
Manson.
Oh, Manson, of course. But is Manson a serial killer? Is Manson a
It'll,
serial killer?
it'll, it'll dive into our into cult leaders.
Because Manson, technically, they are serial killers. The girls went out on well, no, they're spree
No, they're not
killers.
really serial killers, but he did have the recipe for one. The
But
only
if
difference
you
is
think
that,
of it, there's spree killers like Starkweather, because they killed 2 nights in a row.
well, but you know what's funny? Those are FBI. I think those are FBI categories, but they call them serial killers. I just call them like malignant humans. Like
Yeah,
they're just tumors of humanity. Like they
yeah,
are evil that's gonna spread.
yeah,
Um, and like Manson is interesting because then he also embodies the cult leader.
yeah.
We can that could probably be our jump into that type of stuff, but
And technically, he says he never told them to kill. He just said
oh, yeah,
do something witchy.
yeah,
That's what he said. I mean, and they were so devoted to him.
which
Like,
is
how sick that is. These four young girls, like, what were they, 18,
maybe
19 years old?
yeah, they were young.
They taking LSD every single day. I saw an interview with one of them. She took LSD for like 6 weeks
That's
straight.
gonna mess them up.
Yeah, yeah. He knew he manipulated them
But we
to a
could talk about
T.
we should leave the Manson for the Manson because we'll definitely do
Yeah,
an episode on that one. But
but yeah, but you consider Manson a serial killer?
I think part of that crew, yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is that he's a cult leader.
Yeah, and then Jim Jones is the epitome of a serial killer, because he
Oh,
fucking whacked out a whole,
and what he rationalized it, which is so dumb. Yeah, it's sad.
and he used religion in it. Like,
Yeah.
that's even what the '70s was so
I don't like
twisted.
watching that. That story scares me. Like
Oh
I remember watching
God.
documentaries, seeing those bodies under the covers. I remember my dad watching something about that too. Like it's
It,
horrific. And they
yeah.
killed a politician that went down there. Like what a horrible story.
Killed kids. You ever see the actual footage? Oh,
I'm telling you, I got scarred. Yeah,
I
like
got into Jim Jones many years ago, and I really researched him.
I don't know
And
why the rapper Jim Jones took that rap name. That's the worst.
he probably didn't even have a clue who Jim Jones was. And then you got David Koresh, who's like part two of that, saying he's the new Messiah, brainwashing everyone, getting 14-year-old girls pregnant and having sex with guys' wives. You know, um, he's another twisted one. Not as interesting as the other guys. He's more of a psycho, religious guy. But
Funny with the serial killers, those were categories invented by the FBI. I don't know if you never you probably seen Mindhunters, like because the FBI needed categories to classify these crimes for the court of justice and law.
yeah,
But in my opinion, like you have these malignant humans, like we don't know what to do with them. They lack empathy. Psychologists also like what's funny, a label sociopaths and psychopathy, like with those are labels trying to describe these malignant humans. I mean, dude, they're they're evil.
oh,
I don't
it's
know.
it's pure evil, because there's no remorse.
No, no.
Like, you kill something. I mean, somebody in the temple. the other day. Who was it?
And we know some serial killers nearby too in the town.
No, but there was a. I think it was two people in your department. There was a spider, and they were scared your one of your bosses would get mad that a spider was there, so they're about to kill it. I'm like, no, don't kill it. Don't kill us. It's like the worst luck from a Native American tradition. Do not kill a fucking spider. And this dude's ready. I'm like, no. So I got it and I put it in the little thing and I just shoot it away. But like if he if he killed it, I would feel bad. You know what I mean? Some people like kill bugs and spiders, I mean, cockroaches, yeah, kill those fuckers. You know what I mean? But like, I mean, I can't. I feel guilty by mistake if I step on an ant. You know what I mean? A human being, unless it's self defense and it's war, it's a different story. But like when there's a remorse that has to be involved, and they don't. That it's gone.
Well,
It's gone.
that's how you know you have a healthy mind if you feel bad. Even like hitting someone, like that's what scares me when someone hits someone, they have no remorse. I'm like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
that is
I
frightening.
mean, I think I got into one fight in my life, and I didn't actually hit the person, but I was going to when it was well deserved, but I just I didn't have I didn't want to hit the person. I just kind of grabbed them, but I don't think I can ever harm anyone. You know what I mean? Like I would feel really guilty if I punched someone in the face. You know what I mean? Oh, there's somebody I would love to punch in the face, but
Gladly take that bad. Put that lotion in the basket.
exactly. But that's only in my mind.
Right.
But anyway, like I couldn't do it. I would feel bad. You're hurting
I can't.
somebody.
I am a total. I follow the teachings of Jesus and
But there are exceptions. If someone's breaking into your house or harm
boy,
self defense, fuck them up. I don't care. But as far as like yeah, hurting someone for the sake of like, I don't like you. I'm gonna hurt you. There's something wrong up here. There's
I
something
feel
completely.
like bullies are the early psychopaths and sociopaths,
I agree. I agree.
and they inspire kids to, in this kind of, how you put a animal in the corner and it starts to do anything to get out. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, anyway,
But
but
now the kids that are getting bullied are the ones that are shooting up the schools.
oh, that's a whole nother issue.
I
Yeah.
know. It's like a vicious cycle
And
of
they're
like,
street killers themselves, but that's
yeah,
a whole
you
nother.
know.
But let's end it here. This was great.
Yeah, this is we're gonna take a break from true crime. This was
We're gonna return to the music by
going back,
we're
this is like
gonna go on stage with the boss, the
yeah,
greatest
we're gonna hit up Bruce Springsteen. I
American
got three,
rocker.
three episodes. I think I want to start with the river, because it's leading up to Nebraska. So kind of see where he was, what he
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
and then we did Nebraska, but with the movie, so people can understand the river came out before Nebraska, and the movie's about Nebraska. So this great album.
That transition.
Yeah, what he was doing. So I think it's going to lead to that. But it's been a good run of horror for the season of Rocktober.
This
We
is
did a
like the horror season, and it's
yeah.
perfect.
This is and I got stuff written for next year that I have in the back burner because I don't want to I want to get away from this and get back to the music. But we did The Exorcist. We did a bunch of Conjurings, and then we ended with Ed Gein. Well, we'll definitely continue the serial killer every now and then because I can't get away from that. I love the true crime.
Can't disappoint our fans too.
Yeah, yeah, and people
They
love
love
this.
the music, the serial killers. Some love the philosophy and Rush. Some hate
Yeah.
the Rush episodes, which
But a lot of people like this true crime, and I'm proud of us that we can go from the band to true crime, and like and we just did a Rush episode prior to this and a true crime episode. Like we had to switch modes really quick, and we did it. Some people they won't be able to do that. So. But thank you, fans, for being there with us, and like, subscribe,
give this
please leave.
video a thumbs up if you like it.
Yeah, please put comments. We want to hear your comments as long as they make sense. You know what I mean? And I don't know, great episode, Manny. It was great to see you. And who knows our next episode at that famous metal table will be this Sunday.
We told a certain somebody this in the future. This is gonna be a relic. It's gonna be.
Yeah,
They're gonna put a little like ribbon and like have a little plaque. With,
at the Amazon Hall of Fame. One day there'll be a table.
no,
This is where Cheech and Manny wrote
two
their
podcasters
famous,
develop their podcast.
500 years from now when they dig us from the ground. Oh my
And it's
God,
gonna say
Cheech and Manny.
Amazon's gonna be like, it was all thanks to us. They were allowed this.
Yeah, these guys were geniuses, But anyway, all right, man. Great to see you. Great time tonight, and I will see you at the temple. Nanu, nanu.
Likewise, brother. Make sure you put that lotion in the basket.
Hey, I got the lotion in the basket.
And hopefully we can sleep soundly tonight. This is good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Chief.
man.
See you on the next one.
Definitely. Take care.
You too.
2, 3, 4.